Well, blessings, everyone. Blessings to you. Hmm. I am so excited to be back with you after a 2 month sabbatical. I have been in South Africa and I have returned and moved myself into my new house and am ready to resume the work that we're all doing together. And so, welcome back. I'm now in North Fort Myers, Florida, and very excited to begin the next journey with you and with myself, of course. And tonight's topic is meaningful to me because I'm one of those people who I suppose it could be viewed as I'm one of those people who can't sit still, but I'm also just one of those people who believes in the power of a vision. And so the topic tonight is the power of purpose. And I'm very excited just to explore this topic with you. Now, if you are here, please post, please comment, and tell me you're here. It adds to my experience because then I know I'm not just talking to myself in front of my computer like a crazy person, but actually have people I'm engaged with. My intention is to use this platform, StreamYard, as a platform to create community. And so right now we are a community. So please do check in. So our topic tonight is the power of purpose. Um, so purpose is defined as the reason for which something is done or created, for which something exists. So, oh, hi, Jan. Thank you so much. So glad to be back. It's also defined as something set up as an object or an end to be attained. Brian and Jem, welcome, welcome. Oh, so happy to see your names. Uh, so it's a personal conversation for me a little bit as I returned from South Africa. And that I kind of did hit the ground running. I literally flew in on the 13th, had to pack up my apartment, and move into my new home on the 20th, and also spoke at the Center for Spiritual Living in Cape Coral, and also packed and unpacked. So it's just been a whirlwind of activity for me. But Dina, but I always end up, it's always for me, I have a what's next. Always for me, it's a what's next. I've been musing about that this week because I do believe the what's next is critically important to our health and well being, that we need a what's next. We need a purpose for which we are living and moving and having our beingness. So, um, most of you who are with me, I know my new friends are probably shy, and that's fine, but eventually you'll come out and say hello, I'm sure. I am the director of an organization called A Life of Spiritual Power. And A Life of Spiritual Power is an umbrella. It's a context for all of the conversations I have in life, all of the conversations we have together. Uh, and there are few aspects of living a life of spiritual power that is important. Now, for those of you who are new to me, I want you to know that uh, this particular aspect of a life of spiritual power is called Sunday Night Alive. And Sunday Night Alive, this Sunday nights has always been for me an opportunity for you and I to explore practical spirituality or to practice practical metaphysics together. It's like, what does it mean to be awake, to be aware, to be living life in a not so normal business as usual fashion, and in such a way that it brings us great joy and meaning? So there are really four aspects of this which are important. One is that we live in present moment awareness. So that means that we're in the here and now as much as possible, which means that we are dealing with, and hopefully at some moment we'll have dealt with our past, which means that we've let everyone in our past off the hook, including ourselves, that we've let go of any regret or shame or guilt or condemnation or anger or resentment. It is impossible to live a spiritually motivated life if any of those things are still taking place for you. Now, if they're still taking place for you, that is not a bad or wrong thing. It's taking place for almost every human being on the planet. So it's not unusual to have to grapple with some of these issues for some period of time. But that is the one hallmark, is we live in the present moment. The second is to live in life embracing the ideal of unity and oneness. Now, this is not just a fad or a theory, but how in practice do we live knowing that there's nobody to be afraid of, nobody to hate, nobody to judge, nobody to deem unworthy of our respect and attention. Now, this is not easy to do, but in spiritual teachings, in practical spirituality, we are one. We are all made equal in the eyes of that which made us. Whatever name, I'm not going to call it anything, but however you want to think about that or talk about that, it means that you and I are equal, that we're the same. So to live a life of spiritual power is to actually live actually knowing that there is no spot where God is not, that there is no person that has been that was born bad. There is no one who is not worthy of our compassion and our forgiveness and our support, and as they navigate this human existence. Now, obviously that takes some work, and obviously not all people know that they're made in the image and likeness of life and love. So there are people who are mean, there are people who are cranky, there are people who do things. So we're not saying that we ignore that, but to live for you and I, to live a spiritually awakened life, we must look beyond that into the heart of someone, which is to see the presence of life in them, the love in them, the joy in them. Number three is that to live a life of spiritual power means that you are empowered to participate in the creation and development of relationships, conditions, and circumstances in your life which you find exciting, fulfilling, and meaningful. It means that you're not at the effect of life. It means that you're not feeling powerless. That you participate in the co-creation of your life. And that life that you co-create is one that makes you happy, and is that in which you find meaning and value for yourself, which is number four. You know that your life has meaning and value, and not only to yourself, but to others as well. So life becomes a natural expression of your happiness and your joy. Now, I'm a 73-year-old woman. I am surrounded these days by a lot of illness and death. And I think it just kind of comes with the territory a little bit, right? That the average lifespan for most human beings is somewhere between 70 and 85. So I don't know about you, but I'm kind of right in the middle of that. And I love being in the middle of that, by the way. And I'm embracing the middle of that completely. But it does, purpose and meaning is not just for young people. Purpose and meaning and value is not just for middle-aged people. Purpose, value, and meaning is for each and every one of us from the moment of our appearance on this planet to our disappearance on this planet. And so to live a life of spiritual power is to just become aware of that. Does it mean there's no hard days? Of course not. Does it mean stuff doesn't happen? Of course not. Now, some things get in the way of our experiencing that, and one of them, there's several of them. One is low self-esteem. Now, nobody likes to think of themselves as having low self-esteem, but low self-esteem simply just means that um, we don't consider ourselves worthy or having the capacity to really have good things happen to us, to allow life to love us. And in many, many cases, this is a completely normal reaction to the dirt and grit of the journey, especially if in your childhood and upbringing you were not respected or adored or loved or supported in the ways that a God should be. So low self-esteem is something we might have to get over in order to step into the fullness of our vision. The other maybe even more important aspect is hopelessness. I talk to young people, yeah, and by young people, I mean 20 to 40. And the world is such a crazy place, and people living in the world are such crazy people that sometimes it's hard to feel as if there's hope and that we're so, like, how do I, as this human being over here, this imperfect human being living in Florida, how can I impact or even make a dent in the crazy? And by the way, this conversation is very important and will become increasingly important as we move into the next several months because we're moving into a year, an election year. We're in the middle of world conflict. We're in the middle of the news reporting crazy, crazy people. So it's easy to feel like who you are, who I am, cannot make a difference in all that craziness. There's actually nothing further from the truth, but that belief keeps us paralyzed. So it keeps us a little hidden and protected and playing it safe and not moving or coloring too far outside the lines. So I want to begin a conversation. Always, you can count on me to begin this conversation to debunk all those ideas and theories, to actually realize that you are so powerful, that you are created in the image and likeness of life itself, that we as human beings are so unique in the world that has been created. So we're not rocks and we're not snails and we're not ants and we're not lions, we're not trees, that we are conscious creators. We have intelligence, we have discernment, we can make decisions, we can change our minds, we can heal our bodies with our thoughts, we can heal our conditions with our thoughts. We are so powerful. I want you to hear that anywhere in life where you feel limited, you are not limited. Does that mean that you will not die? Of course not. You can't talk yourself out of death. Everyone makes this transition from appearance to disappearance. Does it mean that you won't encounter crude, rude people in your life? Of course it doesn't mean that. You will. What it does mean, though, is that none of that really inherently has the capacity to cause you suffering. None of that. So tonight, I have found myself. So the title for tonight is The Power of a Purpose, the power of a reason to get out of bed in the morning, the power of a purpose, the power of a higher why in your personal life. And I don't care about everyone's life. I care about your life. I do. I care about your life. Because if you can wake each morning with a purpose that you are committed to, that you will be healthier, you will be happier, you will be more motivated, you will experience meaning and value. Now, in addition to a purpose giving you a reason to get out of bed in the morning, and in addition to a reason bringing you meaning and value, um, having a purpose allows you to be happy. I want to read you this wonderful thing I found. It's a quote. It's a writing from the Kurt Vonnegut from a book called Cat's Cradle. And he says, "In the beginning, God created the earth, and he looked upon it in his cosmic loneliness, looked upon it in cosmic loneliness. And God said, 'Let us make living creatures out of mud, so the mud can see what we have done.' And God created every living creature that now moves, and one of those creatures was a man." So it's not unlike every Bible story I've ever heard, right? God created all the animals, all the insects, all the flowers and plants, all the minerals, all the galaxies, and God created man. Now, mud as man alone could speak. So, do you understand that no one speaks but us? Now, you might say that, of course, not negating Penny the talking cat, or Alfred the talking dolphin. I'm sure in their own way they speak to each other, but man alone has language. Man alone has conscious awareness of his existence. No other creature on this earth has that. So God leaned in very close to mud as man sat up. This includes women, by the way, as men and women stood up, looked around and spoke. And man blinked and looked at God and said, "What is the purpose of all of this? What is the purpose? God, what is my purpose?" That's you and me. God, what is my purpose? Everything must have a purpose. Ask God. God said, "Does everything have to have a purpose?" And man said, "Certainly." God said, "Then I leave it all to you to think of one." And then he went away. So I love this so much because it's very easy to think, and I might have even said at another time, that God has a purpose for your life. And in this beautiful reading by Kurt Vonnegut, God's saying, "I don't know what the purpose is. Go make up a purpose for yourself. Go make up a purpose. Decide on something of value to you." Now, purpose. So here's my situation really. I live in Southwest Florida. This is a retirement community. Everyone in this community is 55 or older. Most of them are probably 70 and older. So I'm no different than them. I am a senior citizen. I'm a geriatric patient. I am on the back nine, the final third, right? The last quarter of life. And it's very common for people to think that there is like purpose wanes as you get older. But I have to tell you, one, I'm going to argue about that till my last breath. You can count on me. Purpose is not of God. Purpose is your call. It's your saying what's important to you. You're saying what's of value to you. You're saying how you want to spend your time. You're saying how you want to show up in the world. So in the Science of Mind, Philosophy, Faith, and Way of Life, which is my faith walk, also unity and Science of Mind are kissing cousins. There are a couple of hallmarks to this philosophy, faith, and way of life. One is the one primary ones is that our thoughts, our minds are powerful, that we create with our thoughts. We change our minds. We can think, we can decide. Now, we get to choose all over again. And I'm going to tell you, you can choose all over again, whether you're 20, 30, 50, 70, or 100. You can choose to think differently, to be different. And the purpose, by the way, does not have to be grandiose and big. I don't care what it is. Now, in fact, in the early days of spiritual awakening, in the early moments of spiritual awakening, all your purpose must be to awaken spiritually. Your purpose must be to stabilize your life structures. So what happens is we get conditioned as children and young adults to be a certain way, to think a certain thing, to approach life in a certain way. And almost always that's all wrong. Almost always. Now, not always. I have talked to some of you and met many of you who had really conscious, awakened parents who helped you. But for most of us, we hit adulthood a little like a deer in headlights. Like, what the hell? Like, now what? Right? So we're ill equipped. I have nieces and nephews ill equipped to live life from the standpoint of happiness, meaning, and fulfillment, that they're just trying to earn money. They're just trying to figure out what to do. They're trying to figure out how to deal with the news. They're trying to figure out what to do in the election. There's so much stress in living. So almost always there's a moment where we have to make our purpose to stabilize our life structures. And what I mean by that is you might find yourself with money not in right relationship with money, not in right relationship with your health, not in right relationship with your creative self-expression or your work. You might find yourself at the effect of your family and friends not knowing, not feeling authentic or real, like trying just to fit in and get by. That is not why we were made. I mean, it may be why a rock exists, but you and I, we are such unique beings. So your first purpose might be to focus on your health and well-being. And that's a really wonderful purpose. It's wonderful. In fact, please take it on. Drink more water, get more sleep, get more exercise, eat better food, start thinking better thoughts about yourself. Same with your relationships. You know, many of us find ourselves in dysfunctional, codependent relationships because we've never been taught how to have loving, respectful uh, relationships. So you can make it your purpose to literally stabilize your life structures, so money, your health, your relationships, your work. This could keep you busy for a very long time, but remember, a purpose gets you out of bed in the morning. It gives you something to look forward to. It gives you a goal. And as far as I can tell, we need that. We need a reason to get up in the morning. Now, what happens after you stabilize your life structures, after you get your, excuse my language, but after you get your shit together, right? And you say, okay, I'm going to improve my self-esteem. I'm going to get a better paying job. I'm going to go back to school. I'm going to eat better. I'm going to lose my weight. I'm going to quit drinking, smoking, drugging, sexing, interneting, whatever it is, all of which is required really to live a spiritually balanced life. Once that foundation is strong, you will then move on into creative self-expression that not only makes a difference to you, but makes a difference to the world. So it isn't really possible to live in life fully, happily, contentedly, meaningfully, profoundly, without having an intention. I'm trying to think of how to word this, without having an intention to do no harm. And in a life of spiritual power, another quality of that life is that we do no harm, that we're not killing people, raping people, starving people, killing animals, polluting the earth, that we shift into a sense of responsibility and stewardship, which is so fulfilling and meaningful. And as the reading was by Kurt Vonnegut, this is not about what God wants you to do. God, his quote said, God doesn't want you to do anything. God just wants you to be alive, be happy, be expressing, be living, be thinking, be enjoying your body. Just be here being wonderful. But that's a decision we have to make, and we st- and we start by focusing on imp- thinking a new thought about ourselves. And the moment you're settled, your attention will automatically go to, how can I express my gifts and talents? How can I express what I love to do? Now, um, your only obligation in life, so there is no obligation. I'm going to tell you, the God I know doesn't care whether, doesn't, it's the right word. There is no mandate for a good life. Like, you don't have to feed the hungry, take care of the poor, sacrifice yourself, sacrifice your happiness, well-being, your abundance, your prosperity in order to take care of other people. Everyone has a responsibility to take care of themselves. Does that mean we don't participate in? No, of course. Of course. And it comes naturally when you're spiritually balanced. Doing what works for everyone becomes natural. So there's a wonderful quote. Let me show you. There's a wonderful quote by, I'm looking. Yeah. This is Barbara Waterhouse, who was, she recently made her transition, but in one of her talks, she said, when life gives you the opportunity to be generous, take it. When life gives you the opportunity to be generous, take it. Now, this particular sermon she was doing was on generosity, like really being generous with your time, your talent, and your treasure. But I would actually say, when life gives you the opportunity to be kind, take it. When life gives you the opportunity to be compassionate, take it. When life gives you the opportunity to forgive, take it. So life will give you opportunities every day to demonstrate your wholeness, and to demonstrate your happiness, and to demonstrate your perfection. So having, um, I think the best case scenario is to have, is to identify a big picture for yourself. Like, why are you alive? Are you alive to love? Are you alive to work with children? Are you alive to work with animals? Are you alive to garden? Are you alive to paint, to write books, to be a minister? Are you like, and probably it's been there since you were born, that this sense of who you are and what you do. You know, I watch America's Got Talent snippets. You know, when you see all these young people, these amazing children and young adults. By the way, have anybody of you seen Tom Ball? Tom Ball from, I think he's from Britain, maybe Scottish, Ireland, I'm not sure. But anyway, he sang on America's Got Talent, and this 24-year-old opened his mouth. It was like, OMG, where did this come from? This kind of talent isn't unique to a few people. It's in you too. Like, your talent and my talent is equally as moving to the world as any avatar or any singer or any author. We just have to say so, right? So we have to give up hopelessness, low self-esteem, being victims of the world, and step into our spiritual power. That's really the point. The Buddha says the purpose in life is to find your purpose and then to give your whole heart and soul to it. He does not say here the purpose in life is to find out what God wants you to do and then to give your whole heart and soul to it. He's saying the purpose in life is to find out what you want to do and then to give your whole heart and soul to it. And you can do this at any age, truly any age. You just kind of almost have to just embrace 20 seconds of insane courage and go meet people, go write that book, build that website, cook that cookie, whatever however it is you want to make your mark, you can do that. So that is my message for tonight, the power of purpose. I'm actually moving into kind of a new purpose for myself in that I am at 73 years old. I am so interested in working in the arena, in the end of life arena, which means working with people, whether you're 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, whether you're healthy or sick, whether you're whatever it is, on how we navigate life so as to experience a good ending, a peaceful ending, an acknowledged ending. So stay tuned for more of that because it really is my passion right now to really talk about what it means to what it means to orchestrate your own illness, your own death, what it means to be connected to family and friends, what it means to get into the medical and social systems, and what it means to just simply always kind of stay on the green growing edge of our own evolution and not to give up the older we get. I'm kind of really passionate about that right now. So stay tuned for more. I'm probably going to put together, I think I'm going to put together like a 6 or 8 week primer on a good death. So stay tuned for that. So again, please comment if you're here with me. I'm so happy to see you. If you're interested in donating to my ministry, I happily accept your support since this is what I kind of do for work right now. So you can do that through DeniseSchubert.com, donations or PayPal, Zelle, or Venmo. If you're interested in spiritual support, end of life support, if you're moving through illness or a diagnosis, if you have parents, you know, the official term for where I'm moving into is in addition to a spiritual teacher and the founder of a spiritual life of power, continue doing that. But I'm kind of moving into an end of life specialist or death doula work. So if you have questions, anything, please reach out. I would love to engage in conversations with you about that. You can sign up for my newsletter at DeniseSchubert.com in addition to engaging in my many, many years of spiritual practice and life in Africa. So please feel free to do that. So it's been wonderful being with you. I'm going to pray us out. Again, if you need or want anything, please do not hesitate to call me or text me or email me. I'm here for you always. Never give up. Yes, Alicia Gunn says, never give up. You bet, never give up. And so we do a special kind of prayer in this, in my faith tradition, which is called affirmative prayer. So I'm going to do that now for each and every one of us. So obviously we're not having a one-on-one conversation, but if we were, I would ask you to tell me what it is you want me to know for you. So, but what I am going to know for you is that whatever needs to happen to shift you into deeper purpose and meaning and value in your life, you do that you find the tenacity and the courage to buck whatever system you might be in so that you can move into a greater experience of well-being and happiness. And that ultimately we all just want to be comfortable, cared for, compassionate, kind. We want to have friends. We want to feel good. That's what we all want. And so join me in a moment of prayer as I turn within, and what simply means letting the world, all the conditions in the world, let politics fall away, let wars fall away, let abuse and all the terrible things people do to other people fall away, recognizing that the world has gone mad a little bit, but it's because we've gone mad a little bit. So that which we see comes from invisible causation. And so as we turn within and we open our inner eyes, I know that we're looking into the place that the seat of love within us. Our job, if we have any obligation whatsoever in this life, I believe it's to let this love out, to somehow survive our upbringing and to become people who love radically and who are deeply, deeply committed to feeling good and powerful and healthy, happy, and wise. And so I do know that we are all connected through this thing called life, whatever name you want to give it, that we are not accidents. We are on purpose beings, and that we are connected to each other. There's no other out there for us to be afraid of or to be not in love with. So whoever's on this call, whoever's within the sound of my voice, we are connected. We are one. We are unified. All beings, all animals, all people, all plants, everyone, we're connected. And so coming from the my awareness that life is for the purpose of living, life is for the purpose of joy, life is for the purpose of happiness, life is for the purpose of well-being, that I speak my word for and about anyone and everyone within the sound of my voice, calling forth those experiences, knowing that we can release any suffering, that we can transform any fear, that we can soften our boundaries, that we can employ our capacity to think, to decide, to change our minds, to engage with people, to seek help. We have a way, we have the ways and means, the intelligence and the capabilities to be in life more fully, more authentically, more joyfully, with more meaning. I know that this is possible. There's no one for whom this is not possible. And so whether it's you or a loved one that you're engaged with or people you don't know, let's call forth love. Let's just call forth love. And to know that that love brings healing to whatever needs healing. And so this field, this thing we call God, is a field of unlimited possibilities. And there is no God who's paying attention to us with some arbitrary purpose for our lives. We have been empowered to choose our purpose and to live it fully with all of our heart and all of our soul and all of our minds. And so, for the joy of coming together for just a few minutes to explore practical spirituality, how practical metaphysics can help us, I'm grateful. I'm grateful to be with you in this moment, in this version of a community, and know that the word spoken is a word fulfilled. So without doubt, without fear, without skepticism, without pessimism, move into this week allowing the good to happen for you, and allow your purpose on any and every given day to bubble up, and then to dedicate your whole heart, your whole life, and your whole soul to fulfilling that purpose in your life. So, for all of this and so much more, I am grateful. We let this be, and so it is. Amen. All right. So good to be back in the saddle with you. I look forward to seeing you next Sunday. I look forward to continuing this exploration of living a good life and ending a good life, whatever that might mean to you. And until then, between now and then, have a wonderful week. So, peace and blessings. I'll see you next time.